Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about the Vampire Diaries, episode 803, titled You Decided That I Was Worth Saving, which premiered Friday, November 4th, 2016 on the CW. Before we get started, guys, just a quick reminder, I'm recording this the same night I'm watching the episode for the first time, so you are getting my first genuine reactions on the episode before anyone else affects how I thought of it. So there is that. I only own my thoughts, theories, predictions, that's it, or a photo if I use it of myself in the video. Otherwise, any other photo related to the show, I got them from Google and then I edited them through Photoshop to make everything look more visually appealing. So there is that. Also, I'm not making this for any money whatsoever. This is just for fun. Help me see what I thought about the first episode for the first time. Also to let me see what I picked out the first time I saw it, and to see if I actually predicted anything on track, because it's always fun to see if I was on the right track or not later down the line. So there's that. So with that all said, let's get this 10-minute clock started, and let's begin. So something new that we learned in this episode. So let's see. So some tidbits that you can learn, I'm going to do them first instead of going into everything, but we learned that through Sybil, she reveals that she's actually been around for 3,000 years. Caroline commented later on that Sybil was locked up for at least 200 years. Not sure if that's truly accurate or if she was just exaggerating, but at least it puts a number to it. Also, Georgie comes up with the theory of the weapon being the early pitchfork for hell. The twins actually accidentally give Hark the discovery of what the use of the pitchfork was, and it is the fact that it is a tuning fork. Meant to disorient the siren. Also, we get a confirmation again that Bonnie still has no magic. It also looks like Stefan has started child-proofing the boarding house for the twins to come over in the near future. And this episode really focused on Caroline planning her new wedding. It also brought up the fact that she has been planning her wedding since she was 11. She had a scrapbook and everything for it. So now with Bonnie as her maid of honor, she brought the book out to kind of see if Caroline still, if anything, the book is what Caroline still wants to go with or not. A trip down memory lane, if you will. Also, another tidbit is that Alark does tell Stefan that he thinks there is a way for them to get Damon back. They've done it before, so why can't they do it again? They just don't know how to do it yet. And also Damon attacks Tyler Lockwood at the very end. So there's that. So let's move on to the main problem at hand. Sybil orders Damon to kill Bonnie. So when Damon fails to do this, Sybil pretty much orders a fight to the death between Damon and Enzo, and then having Bonnie forced to pick the survivor. So in the end, Bonnie picks Enzo, which Sybil doesn't like. So Sybil manages to convince Enzo to flip his humanity switch off to spare Bonnie the fate to go to hell, though Sybil revokes that promise after the switch has been flipped. So now Sybil has her loyal followers in Damon and Enzo. However, because of the fact that they found the tuning fork in that pitchfork, Sybil gets captured when it is used against her, kind of disorients her for a moment. So there is that. And when she was captured, though, Georgie was a witness to this from afar. So she actually saw the vampires with their speed, the siren going down with the tuning fork being used. So that was the last time we see her in the episode. So who knows how she's reacting to all that. But fun flashbacks for this episode I wanted to mention is the fact that we know that Sybil is rewiring Damon's memories of the key moments where his loyalty towards Elena and Bonnie have happened. So we kind of get to go a bit through some montages and back to some key flashbacks. One of them being the night on Wickery Bridge when Damon met Elena. We've seen that same flashback over and over again. This time, though, Sybil made it so that in Damon's mind, Elena had died on Wickery Bridge. So because of this, we see Liz Forbes making an appearance in that flashback where she confirms the death of Grayson Miranda and Elena Gilbert. And then also at the beginning of that little reworking, we do get the 322 flashback of Elena and Grayson's final moments together underwater. And then it leads to Sybil's recreations and stuff like that. And then second flashback we see is of Sybil make it so that she was trapped in the prison world with Damon instead of Bonnie. So that first time we see them in the prison world in season 6 was Damon in his plaid shirt making pancakes, and then it was for Bonnie. Instead, it's for Sybil. And she continues to talk to Damon through that flashback, even though she's still a prisoner in the armory at the end of the episode. So there's that. We also got to see a montage of Damon's relationship with Bonnie from the very beginning. So we get to see that whole hate to love relationship in many, many flashes. So I thought that was pretty cool. And we got that. So, with that all said and done, what was the most shocking moment of the episode? For me, it has to be the fact that Damon feeds off of Tyler at the very end of the episode. And now it is uncertain on whether he's dead or not. The fact that Tyler is just a guest star, he's not a main cast member, and the fact it's the final season, it has me very worried over the fact that Damon could have very well just killed Tyler. And also, it seems like Sybil wants Damon to sever all of ties that are keeping him from being loyal to her. So, that has me a little worried. So, moving on with that though, top 3 favorite moments. First one has to be the fight between Damon and Enzo. I really like that, despite the fact that they were being mind controlled to do this, I really like that we actually got to see them fight each other. It was just great to see the technique, great to see what they were capable of doing, how far they would go type thing. It was just great. It was just great to see that come together because you don't really get to see something like that. So there's that. Next favorite moment has to be all the archive footage we got to see. It was a great trip down memory lane. It really brings out the feels, especially when you know this is the final season. And just to just to see things from the very beginning, and then just to see them all come together in these montages is really great. I mean, even in this episode, I forgot to mention it, the title itself, "You Decided That I Was Worth Saving," it's Damon's line in the season 1 finale in that infamous porch scene he has with who he believes is Elena. So it's a constant trip down memory lane. I really love we actually got to visually see it this time. Another favorite moment is the fact we got to see Tyler Lockwood again. He had a great scene with Damon. He's trying to, it was just a whole array of emotions going on there. He's not only tries to get Damon to not get him involved, but then when that doesn't seem to work, he takes on the strong approach, telling Damon that, fine, if you're going to do this, then do this. I want you to look me in the eye and do it, because I want you to remember my face and have it haunt you for the rest of your existence, that this was and be a reminder that this is the moment that you gave up everything. So it's just, he went, if Tyler did die, he went out strong, for sure, and I'm definitely going to miss him. I really hope he isn't, because I really wanted to know what Tyler has been up to in the last 3 or 4 years, but there's that. Last favorite moment has to be the fact that the way that Georgie was able to explain her theories to Alaric, and how she comes to these conclusions with her research, and I love it. I'm liking Georgie more and more each time. It was just great to see the passions, great to see how she comes to these conclusions, great to see how she takes these little bits and pieces and makes them work to make it make sense for what she's trying to uncover. So there is that. Now moving on to top 3 peeved moments. First one is the fact that Sybil's containment at the armory, her new one, it was not done properly. I feel like they should have sealed her up more than just locking her in a simple cell that I think we pretty much saw Mary Louise sick in a bed in that same cell. I mean, that's pretty, like, what is stopping Sybil from having any influence? I mean, you know that this is a siren who has psychic connections to her followers. So if you're going to lock her up, why not do something to block that psychic connection? I don't know, put some magical barrier up, or put it so that that tuning pitch is always on repeat and she's always hearing it, so it disorients her and stops her from any possibility of forming a coherent psychic connection with them. It's just the fact that you stick her in a room and you lock the doors, like, that is not enough of a way to lock a creature like her up. I mean, if you're going to lock Klaus up, the original hybrid, you're not just going to stick him in a room and lock the door. No, You put a magical barrier around him. You put a dagger in his heart or something. You restrain him. You make it impossible for him to move, let alone get out of a place like this. And then you stop him from even having further contact with the outside world. But with this case, with Sybil, it wasn't even done like that. So it really bugged me that all they really did is just stuck her in a room and threw away the key. When she has all this power and such a huge hold on Damon and Enzo, you're not doing anything else to stop her from continuing with that hold. So there's that. I'm going to stop with that one right there. Next peeve moment I had was the fact that Tyler's fate is uncertain. Though, like I said before, I'm 95% sure that he's dead now because of Damon. I hope that's not the case, but chances are it is. So that's a real big bummer because I wanted to again know what Tyler's been up to in the last 4 years. And where the hell Jeremy is, because I'm pretty sure Tyler knows where Jeremy is. So there's that. Another peeve moment I had was the fact when Stefan mentioned Elena to Damon, there was no confusion to the name. I mean, if Sybil is reworking Damon's memories so that he has no loyalty towards Elena, so to him, he never met Elena, then when Stefan mentions the name Elena, shouldn't Damon, there's a timer, shouldn't Damon be saying, who's Elena? Shouldn't Damon have this confused look on his face when Stefan mentions Elena and it says, like, who are you talking about? So, like, the fact that he doesn't react to Elena's name out of confusion has me thinking he still does know who Elena is. And maybe Sybil really hasn't erased Elena from his head like I've been assuming she's been doing with the way she's been replacing herself with Elena. And with this latest one where she pretty much had Elena killed in their first memory instead of how it actually happened. So the fact that I got no reaction out of Damon when Elena's name was mentioned, it really aggravated me because it made no sense. Whether it was out of reaction of pining or whether it's confusion, I got nothing from him when Stefan dropped her name, and it bugged me. It really did. And I had another peeve, but I can't remember it. So let's move on. What moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode? The fight between Damon and Enzo, or the unwanted fight between them. I'll definitely remember that for sure. But moving on, though, to random questions. I'm still waiting for them to call up the originals to see if they've ever heard of Sybil the Siren in their 1,000 years. I mean, who else is waiting for that to happen? I mean, they've got to know. I mean, despite the fact that they're locked up and kind of incapacitated at the moment, but the fact I'm still waiting for them to make that decision to, yes, I'm going to call them up, and then be told that, oh, I can't get a hold of them at the moment, type thing. So there's that. Next question. If Damon and Enzo have no humanity, then what is tying them to Sybil? I mean, Sybil talked about how the reason why Damon is following her is because he fears hell, where she says that he's going to go if he doesn't follow her. So pretty much she's holding his fate in her hands by saying, like, if you don't follow me, I'm going to send you to hell afterwards. And Damon doesn't want that. He fears going to hell. But if they have no humanity on, then how is that fear possible? How does she have that fear to control over them? I mean, if Damon and Enzo have no humanity, they wouldn't care if they ended up in hell or not. So then doesn't that mean that she would lose her loyal followers because they pretty much shut off her only possible way for her to manipulate them into doing what she wanted? I don't know. That just didn't make sense. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear that. Your own thoughts, theories, or your interpretations of all that. But that's all the questions I have at the moment. But moving on to predictions, though. Based off the first promo for episode 804, it looks like Sybil claims to have a sister out there. We also see a woman being dragged out from under her by an invisible force. Was that Catherine being dragged away? Because it looked very similar to how her last moments were on screen before she was pulled away into what was not the other side but somewhere else. So there is that. That has me wondering about Catherine. Also, it looks like Damon believes in hell, so he's doing Sybil's work to escape that fate. So that's even emphasized even more in the promo. And also looks like Stefan gets revenge. Now, after watching the extended promo, that one alludes to Celine being Sybil's sister, and we also see Matt returning. So, with that all said, based off what was said for the synopsis for 804, we are going to get an origin story. Awesome. I love those. Now, it looks like tasked with finding a mysterious artifact, Damon's latest mission takes him to Texas, where a violent run-in with Peter Maxwell leads to a surprising revelation. Meanwhile, after gaining the upper hand in their fight to save Damon and Enzo, Stefan and Alaric team up and uncover the origins of the mysterious force they're up against. Finally, Matt returns to the fray after his past and present collide in an unexpected way. So, with all that said and done, originally I thought that Catherine was in the promo with the way that very similar descend of a different, not descend, based off of the woman being pulled away by an invisible force, looking very similar to how Catherine's last moments were, as we think it's Catherine. But now with the extended promo, it's looking like it's Celine. But new question, new prediction. Celine is probably going to turn out to be Sybil's sister. But for once, could the evil sidekick be someone we have not been introduced to as someone else? I mean, it's alluding to Celine being Sybil's sister, but for once, couldn't Celine just be a regular babysitter and just have Sybil's sister be someone else we've never met before? I mean, it's just too coincidental that the newest person that they introduce into their lives happens to be connected to the very being they're trying to get rid of. I mean, unless that person purposely had themselves integrated in their enemies' lives to get close to them, then, like, why have that be so coincidental? I don't know. Otherwise, that's pretty much my predictions. The fact that with the way the extended promo kind of alluded to things, Celine is going to be Sybil's sister. If that's the case, maybe that's why Virginia St. John slit Celine's throat in the premiere episode before Caroline saved her with vampire blood. If that's the case, why was Celine not locked up and Sybil was? What makes them sisters? What makes them different? And how did they start 2,000, at least 2,200, 1,000 years ago? No. 2,200 BC. So I guess we're going to go have flashbacks from back there. And yes, what else? They got to find some way to cut off her connection, Sybil's connection to Damon and Enzo. They better make a better sell for her for sure. And I really think the twins have to be involved in some way. Oh, my other question. That was it. My last question. The twins reacted to the tuning fork going off very badly. So my question was, did it go off? Did they react like that because of the fact that it's their young ears being affected by this really loud, high-pitching noise? Or did they react because they are Gemini witches and the tuning fork was reacting to that part of them, and not because of the fact that they had young ears being affected by this loud pitch? So that was the question I wanted to ask earlier. So that's everything. What do you guys think of the episode? What do you guys think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it, as well as if you have any answers for any of the questions I'd asked. I'd truly appreciate it. But yeah, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I reblog promos, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, all of that as best I can. So if you want to keep up to date, follow me there. Also, my WordPress account is connected to that. So if you want to check out anything else that I'm working on, just check out that account, as it connects to every other account that I have. And also, if you want a play-by-play recap of what happened in the episode, check out my live journal entry for that. For this episode, it's in the description down below. You'll get literally a jot-noted play-by-play of the episode with quotes here and there as I watch it, and you also get my in-moment thoughts as I'm watching it for the first time. So you will get some questions in there, you will get some comments in there, you will also get some possible parallels that I maybe picked up on or not. So there is that as well. Also, any of the GIFs used in those entries could be found on my Tumblr page. So that is it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Probably going to be delayed when this is posted, so I do apologize for that, but thank you for your patience. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. Bye for now.